Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm Zemo, the dad in DPS, and welcome to Scrip My Pants, a series where I spend 2,000-ish scrip at the purveyor and see if we get anything interesting. Now, the scrip sale is still on in this video. I filmed this just after the patch, and we'll see if we can get some cool melee weapons. Now, I need to reiterate to everybody, this is not a serious video. I'm not looking for anything in particular here. We're just, rolling the dice and seeing what we get, because it's fun. Either way, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you wasn't invincible, it'd be so easy. Just two between the eyes, and then you bury her in a shallow grave. Anyway, so as you can see, the weapons are reduced in price, and we're going to do some melee weapons today, because that is more fun to do. I'm just going to move my mouse out of the way, because it gets in the way of doing this sometimes. So yeah. Let's see what we get. First roll, we are getting Anti-Armor Golf Club with damage while not moving and 90% reduced weight. Now, not the worst pick that I've ever got from it, but not necessarily anything I would want to use. Anti-Armor is a decent effect. Melee damage while not moving is not the best melee effect, but reduced weight is always nice to have because you're getting a weapon that is not taking up too much room. Hunter's Bear Arm with melee reflection and 1 agility. Everything about this bear arm is absolute butt farts. Yeah, nothing good about that. I don't block much when I'm using melee unless, I'm up against something that really hurts, and a lot of the time it's not really going to do much in terms of damage to them. Yeah, Scrip. 100% scrippity scrip. Vampire's Bowie Knife with damage reflection and 1 agility. For all the same reasons the other one was pants, this one is also pants. Vampires is actually a decent effect on this type of weapon because you swing like lightning, but just not what I'm looking for, or anything anybody's looking for. The damage reflection just makes it pants. If it was faster swing speed, it would have actually been worth keeping. Now this one's good. Executor's Sheep Squatch Club with power attack and action point cost. Now this one is very good because Executioners is not a bad effect. Much like Instigating, this one is actually really good. This one is good on enemies that you cannot finish in 2 to 3 hits, whereas it's also good at bosses, I might add, because once they get below that 40% health, you're going to hurt. Power attack, always good on melee, and then the action point cost is going to reduce the VATS cost of it, and I think the power attack cost of it. So yeah, definitely a good little weapon. I'll be keeping that, I believe. Next up, Mutant Security Baton, damage, action points with each kill, and damage taken while blocking. Now, damage taken while blocking, as I've said, I don't really block, so I find that just kind of pointless. Replenish action points with each kill, not the best on melee weapons, and mutants, while it isn't the worst effect, it's not also the best. If it had 2 decent effects there, I would have probably popped it in the pile for people to take, but, no, absolutely Scrip. Suppressor's Pull Q with melee damage while not moving and weapon breaks 50% slower. Depressors is never an effect I really want. Melee damage while not moving, it's okay, it's just not the best. The only good effect on there is the weapon breaking slower because, yeah, that one is just a crap weapon. Suppressor's Walking Cane with damage while not moving, and Endurance. Endurance isn't a bad thing for melee because it does give you more resistances and all that kind of jazz, but Depressors is not a good effect. The damage while moving is very debatable, but no, it's just bad. Okay, this one's not bad either. Anti-Armor Sheep Squatch Club with critical damage and weapon breaks 50% slower. Now granted, I would much prefer the power attack in that middle slot, or swing speed obviously, but it's decent. Critical damage, if you're primarily using melee and VATS, it is going to allow you to do some big bada booms, especially with hack and slash and whatnot. So yeah, decent little effect. Gormon's Ripper with power attack and weapons break 40% slower. This is it's kind of a god roll for Gormons. Gormons is not the best effect. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It needs to be up to 50% to make it competitive. Power attack is fantastic on this weapon, and the weapons break 50% slower. These weapons break quite quickly in comparison to others. Power attacks are the only attacks that their main buzzbladey kind of thing does. This is pretty much a Gormon's god roll for this weapon. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Quite happy with it. Granted, Gormon's is not the best effect, but you never know, they might buff it in the future because it definitely needs a buff. It needs to be improved on what it is currently. Bloodied combat knife with limb damage and damage while blocking. Bloodied, again, is a decent effect, but with limb damage and the damage taken while blocking, this is just nothing but Scrip. There are better variants of this weapon out there. I just, yeah, no. Gormon's Death Tambo with action points with each kill and 1 strength. The 1 strength is great on there. Gormon's not the best effect, but at least it's a damaging one. Replenish action with each kill. This is more of a weapon that I would recommend get somebody that doesn't really have any decent weapons to use. I kind of don't like it. I think I'd Scrip it, to be honest. I think it more Scrip than anything else. The middle effect makes a big difference. If it had power attack, if I had swing speed, I would keep it, but no, it's just too... Gormon's is... with Gormon's, you need it to be perfect, otherwise it's not worth keeping, I find. Suppressor's Bear Arm with damage reflection, and basically every effect on there offends me. It's like the trifecta of crap. Decent weapon, but on the effects, bad. Bloody... oh, this one is actually fantastic. Bloodied multi-purpose axe with weapon speed and action point cost. Now, when it comes to axes, they're not the best melee weapon, but they're certainly not bad at all. Weapon speed, always good on melee weapons, apart from the automatic ones, and action point cost, always a decent effect. So yeah, this is a kind of very good VATS swing murdery weapon. Quite happy with that. Quite happy with that in every way, shape, or form. I like that. That was a good weapon. I clicked the wrong thing. But that's trash. That's absolute trash. God damn it. Stupid freaking mouse. Right, melee weapons again. We weren't even talking about that. It was crap. So, Juggernaut's Gulper Smacker with critical damage and 90% reduced weight. Now, I have a big problem with Juggernauts. It's such a... It's a good idea, the more health you have. But I really think that Juggernauts needs to have, like, a cap. Like, put Juggernauts... like, maximum damage starts at 70% health. Because any hit you get reduces your damage. It's just... so dumb. It's so dumb. Juggernauts is one of those effects that mutants is just superior to in every way, because most people are going to have mutations on. So I just find this is a very poor main effect, unfortunately. You know, critical damage, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. 90% reduced weight, always good, because, you know, the less weight things take up, the better. But it's probably Scrip either way. Ghoulslayer Spear with limb damage and bonus critical charge. I'm going to ignore that weapon because everything about that is just pants. Next up, Zealot's Ripper, Power Attack, 1 Endurance. Again, for all the reasons the other Ripper was good, this one is good, but with Zealots in that top slot, it just ruins it. It absolutely ruins that effect whatsoever. Damage to Scorched is just, you know, it'd be a good weapon to use against Scorched, but you don't need that. You don't need damage to Scorched. The only Scorched that's even tough is the freaking Queen, and I don't even know if she counts as Scorched. It might count as an animal. Either way, I don't like it. Troubleshooter's Sheepscotch Staff with weapon speed and damage taken while power attacking. So close to being a good roll. Sheepscotch Staff, really good weapon. Weapon speed, very good effect. Power attacking, very good effect in that bottom slot. Damage to robots, not so much. This would be a decent weapon on the new bosses, I suppose, but that's about it. You know, there's not enough robots in the game to justify using Troubleshooter's weapons a lot of the time. I just am very disappointed with that. Assassin's Knuckles, limb damage, action point cost. Yeah, that's bad. I don't rate Assassins, you know, unless you're using a specific PvP build, and I certainly wouldn't be using Knuckles with it. Then we've got limb damage on melee. Limb damage, just, you can't target the limb specifically unless you're doing it manually, and even then, I just wouldn't. And then the action point cost, just not a good weapon, not a good set of effects that are on there. Action point cost is the best effect, but even then, with the other combination, it's just poor. Hunter's bare arm, limb damage, damage taken while blocking. Hunter's poor effect, limb damage, poor effect, as we went over, and you know my opinion on damage while blocking. Everything about that is just, nah. Gormon's Machete with power attack damage and 1 agility. Now this one is decent for all the reasons the other Gormon's weapons were decent that I kind of said were okay. You know, the Gormon's effect definitely needs buffed. If it gets buffed in the future, it will be an absolute beast of an effect. Power attack damage, okay. 1 agility is the weakest effect on here, but at the same time, you know, for a Gormon's build, it's okay. If you want to use some one-handed melee, it's not the best, but it is not the worst by any stretch. Next up, we have the Juggernaut's Guitar Sword with power attack and action point cost. Now, for all intents and purposes, this one's an actually decent Juggernaut's pull. Power attack is good, action point cost is good, but because it's Juggernauts, it's just not very good, and that's the kind of problem. Again, Juggernauts needs something changed, and it needs to have its HP cap lowered. You know, 100% doesn't need to be where the damage starts. It can be 70%, let's say. There's quite a few effects that need a rework. Ooh, this one is actually very interesting. Bloodied Pole Hook with critical damage and critical charge. Now, the Pole Hook is actually a really, really decent two-handed melee weapon. I used to use one back in the day, and it's an absolutely stonkingly powerful melee weapon. It's not the best melee weapon. It's certainly not the best two-handed melee weapon, but it's actually a really decent one. So using this with critical damage and critical charge is a very decent pull for like a critical build. Like if you're using this with a stealth crit build, you're going to do some freaking damage with this thing. This is actually an interesting one to use. Granted, it's not the best pull. I would have still said power attack, or swing speed, strength, or, you know, some variation of those two effects would have been the better pull. But at that same time, it's not a bad one. It's not worth throwing away. It's certainly not worth scripping. It's worth keeping. Next up, Medic's War Drum with critical damage and weapon break slower. No, we're not talking about that. No, Medic's is just no, it's bad. It's Aristocrat's Bone Hammer with limb damage and Vat's critical charge. Aristocrats is actually a really decent effect. Limb damage, not so much. Vat's critical charge, it's okay, I suppose. Just because of the Bone Hammer, I think this is just script. That middle effect is the most important one that you need to get right, other than the main effect. And if the weapon doesn't even get something decent there, it's just no, it's Scrip. Okay, everything about this is just wrong. First off, instigating on an auto melee weapon, complete garbage. This weapon gets double damage for that first hit, and then proceeds to do like dribbles of damage after that. Then we've got melee damage while blocking and damage taken while blocking on a freaking auto weapon. Everything about this is wrong. Everything about this is wrong. What the hell? Now what we're going to do is 2 more because that stupid power armor got in the way. Next up, Zealot's Pull Q with melee damage reflection while blocking, 1 strength. The only good effect on there is 1 strength. It's a pull Q. I didn't expect it to be good, but the only good effect on there is 1 strength. Absolute trash fire. And last but not least, Mutant's Rolling Pin with limb damage and 1 strength. I mean, the middle effect in there is the only letdown effect there. Mutants is decent. 1 strength is very good on melee. But just overall, that is a very disappointing pull of effects. Well, not a disappointing pull effect. It's a disappointing weapon with a disappointing middle effect, and it just kind of makes it Scrip. Well, let's see what my top picks for today are. Now, for the first weapon on the list, I'm going to go for the Bloodied Multi-Purpose Axe with weapon speed and action point cost. Now, axes aren't the best weapons in the game, but this one is a decent little pull for certain. You're going to be able to take down a lot of enemies with this with relative ease. Bloodied, very, very good damaging effect. Weapon speed, always good on just manual melee. And the action point cost is going to help you use it in VATs and potentially with power attacks. Overall, yeah, just a very solid weapon. And it's not the best, but it's a decent pull. So our second pick is going to be the Executioner's Power Attack Sheep Squatch Club with action point cost on there as well. Now the reason why I'm putting this in second place is look at the damage on that thing. It does incredible damage. It's also got that medium swing speed, and this has actually been buffed recently. The mods for this, like the electrical, poison damage, all that kind of jazz, has been buffed on this weapon specifically. So this is going to be doing more damage than it was previously. Now I'd recommend that you go to free range and acquire the plans for this weapon and its brother, the Staff. They're just a solid and very good melee weapon, and the fact that people haven't been using them and have been sleeping on them for so long has always disappointed me. I have been saying for years that these weapons are so underrated and underused, and they look freaking amazing. I mean, it is the most metal weapon in the game. But either way, it's on here, and it is a good pick. Now this last one is more of a hindsight pick. Bethesda have stated that they are doing like a kind of weapon rebalance and trying to get things more in line and trying to get things sorted. And I think Gormon's is an effect that is ripe for being buffed. I think it needs to be at least 50% damage bonus. And when and if they put this up to a 50% damage bonus, this is going to be an absolutely stonkingly powerful roll with a 50% damage bonus. Power attack on there, absolutely great. Weapon break slower, absolutely great. Overall, this weapon is just very satisfying, very fun to use, and I think this is, well, it is a god roll. This is a god roll for this weapon. The only disappointing thing is that Gormon's is not as strong as it potentially should be, and hopefully in the near future they buff that effect so that you have more damage from it and we are seeing, you know, better results. But that is more of a hindsight kind of thing, and we'll see if that does come to fruition, because I think it will. I think they are going to buff a lot of the damaging effects to make them more in line with Bloodied, because Bloodied has been on top for way too long, and I think something needs to change in order to make it, like, shake the meta up. Either way, guys, that is the pick. So that was today's video, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you did, you know exactly what to do. But what I'd say is, if you're interested in any weapons you see in my Script My Pants videos, head on over to our Discord. We have a list of items that I can give away, and I will do giveaways on Thursdays when people request it. If you are interested in getting items from my pile of stuff that isn't good enough for me to use, or you know, I've got too many of them, definitely leave a comment down there. I can link you to the Discord, all that kind of thing. It never seems to work on the like, if I leave it linked on there, it's a pain in my butt. But if you want to get access to the potential god rolls and, you know, near god rolls or just decent weapons, you have to be on PC though, because I'm on PC. Either way, guys, head on over to the Discord. I'd love to see you guys there and get your opinions on, you know, videos and all that kind of stuff. Either way, guys, that is today's video, and with that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you all next time in the wasteland. Feeling the heat.